But John Dwyer is one of the gurus, or actually one of the, well, I believe one of the leading marketers in marketing, especially direct response marketing. This guy's credentials run so long, but his big claim to fame is he was the guy that had Jerry Seinfeld come in and do a commercial, not a small commercial, for a small bank called The Greater. And with that in mind, I've asked John to give us a few minutes of his time, and we're going to talk about what we're going to do on Thursday night. JD, how are you, my friend?
G'day, mate. How are you? And thank you for inviting me on.
Well, pretty good, mate. You're looking very handsome. They're very dapper there. And by the way, congratulations on the wedding in your family over the weekend.
I had a wedding. My son got married on the weekend, but the point is that if indeed, oh, look, what the heck, I'm going to show it. I'm a newsreader, right? Hang on, give me a second. Hang on, I'll step up on the chair. Can you see there?
I can see that.
I'm just giving the game away. I'm a newsreader.
I won't get up on my chair. I'll fall over. John, tell us about what we're going to be. Tell us about what you've been doing. Giving away holidays, vacations at beautiful hotels. Why and why now?
Good, mate. Look, the thing is that if you were asking most parents what a Happy Meal costs at McDonald's, they probably couldn't tell you, Pat, because my wife, Gail, and myself, we've got 6 children, and they're millennials these days in their 20s. But at one stage of our livelihoods, we used to have 6 screaming kids in the Tarago, and the only way to keep them quiet was 6 Happy Meals because of the plastic toy. It had nothing to do with the hamburger. And we must have spent $6 billion on Happy Meals, and we couldn't tell you what a Happy Meal costs. And therefore, my philosophy is that if you are a business and you're in a very competitive marketplace, and who isn't, then the last thing you want to do is price discount, because if you're a hardware store and you think you're going to beat Bunnings, well, think again. And if you are making anything and you think you're going to beat the Coca-Cola of your industry by price discounting, that ain't going to work. So what you've got to do, in my view, is think outside the square and have what we call an incentive-based marketing proposal. And that is Harvey Norman, 2 years interest-free. That is the Happy Meal toy in the box. That is Kellogg's breakfast cereals. There's always something at the bottom of the cereal box. And it's what we call an incentive-based marketing plan. And you know what, Pat? Less than 5% of businesses in the world ever think about doing it. They
automatically get a 10% discount, and people are like, who cares now? 10%. Everybody's doing it, but they could convert that 10% into something like into what you're saying, John.
Yeah, that's exactly it, mate. All we do is we teach businesses to decide on whatever percentage discount they were going to give away, and then turn that into a Happy Meal toy. Simple as that. Sorry, go on.
So John, you've been able to teach people for many years about marketing, direct response marketing, and making sure there's a Happy Meal for adults in there. Why holidays? Is this an MLM? Is this like some sort of, okay, I know how this works. You get me in, you lock me in a room for 2 hours with timeshare. What is it, and why now? I mean, you know, we've just come out of lockdown, unless you live in Victoria, but we'll leave, don't mention the war. Why is it so powerful now?
Okay. Pat, I've been able to partner with an international travel company that has essentially negotiated with lots and lots of hotels around the world, but we're interested in Australia at the moment. They're dead rooms. And so essentially most hotels run at about 70% occupancy. Put the COVID season aside, right? But normally they have a 30% vacancy factor. So this international travel company is being able to broker a deal with them whereby they are able to give us those rooms. We're able to sell them for a ridiculously small amount of money in a promotional sort of program. And those hotels actually make money out of food and beverage. So they're foregoing their room tariff, which could be $250, $350 a night, in return for the expectation that they'll make money out of food and beverage. And so what we've done is that we've packaged this together and we're offering it to Australian businesses. They're all Australian holidays. Now, when things come good again, as please God they will, after Christmas next year, when people can travel internationally, there is Bali and Fiji and Vanuatu and Koh Samui and all those wonderful places as well. But for the moment, we have destinations like Port Douglas and Cairns and Brisbane, the Gold Coast and Adelaide and Perth and all sorts of places whereby, it sounds crazy, but whereby we can offer a business a 5-day, 4-night holiday to give away to their customers when they purchase from them, wait for it, for $97.
And this is for a family of 4, correct?
Family of 4, you can send, say, for example, you were an air conditioning company and you've got 1,000 bloody competitors out there. You'd be the only one, I would say, that would be saying, listen, if you buy your air conditioner from me, We're about the same price as our competitors, but I'm going to give you a Happy Meal toy. I'm going to give you a 5-day holiday for your family at a 4-star resort, by the way. These are not Mount Druitt caravan parks. These are 4-star resorts, the likes of the Marriott, the Hilton, the Sheraton, and there is no timeshare presentation whatsoever.
Now, John, when people look at it, they go, oh, really? What's the deal? And obviously, you can't convince people that don't want to be convinced. I'm convinced. I've used them myself. I've used them, with my own clients. Gladly, I'm so glad I was one of the first guys to jump on board and use this incentive, and my sales went through the roof. But otherwise, I use them as gifts as well. John, when it comes to travel, why are people so enamored with travel and vacations, by the way?
Well, particularly now, mate. Let me just say, because I've got a lot of experience with travel marketing, the Greater Building Society, which you kindly said that was the bank that I got Seinfeld to do the advertising. Even before I got Seinfeld, we had a campaign which invited people to swap their home loan from a bank across to the Building Society, and we give them a free holiday. So it's exactly this format, only many years beforehand. And we just broke records, absolutely broke records. They took an extra $14 billion in the first few years. We're talking billion, not $1 million, in the first few years in home loans. Because if you think about it, there's nothing more, if you like, competitive than the banks handing out money. And one bank will be 4.3%, the next bank will drop to 4.1%, the next one will drop to 3.9%. It's a race to the bottom. What we did is that we never had any price in any bank ad for 11 years. We just said, swap your home loan, get a free holiday. And then, of course, when I got Jerry Seinfeld to do it, it went up another level. And the reason it worked is because holidays are appealing to both sexes and all ages. You pick something else in life that is appealing to everyone. There's not many of them out there.
Now, John, this, I've seen people in real estate, hairdressing, beauty industry, roofers, builders, contractors, speakers. What are we going to learn on Wednesday night? We've got you for an hour and a half, 2 hours. One of the world's leading marketers. I mean, your list of clients is a who's who. We've got you for an hour and a half, nearly, or an hour and a half, 2 hours. What are we going to learn on Thursday night, 7 p.m.?
Not much.
I didn't think so.
Okay, so I like that when you're interviewing one of these things and they give you a big build-up. He's a guru, he's a genius, this, that, the other. I just like to be a pain in the ass. Not much. I'm a car mechanic by trade. I only do this marketing for weekend. Yeah, mate, look, I think whoever owns a business, it'd be a very wise investment of their time to pop on, because what I'll be doing is showing you direct response marketing. And there's a big difference between brand building and direct response. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against brand building. We buy Kellogg's because it's Kellogg's, and we buy Toyota because it's Toyota. But unless you have deep pockets, it's very hard for you to sponsor the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games or put your brand on the outside of the Broncos shirt or whatever it may be. What this is that I'm going to show you, regardless of the holiday, put the holiday thing aside. I mean, we'll give you a surprise in a moment of what you're going to get if you come to the webinar, but put the holiday thing aside. I will just show you what direct response marketing is, and it's 5 things. Number 1, identify your most profitable audience and then just look for more people who look like him. Number 2, create a wow factor to take their eyes off the price, and that's the likes of the Happy Meal toy. You can't tell me what a Happy Meal probably costs if you're a parent or grandparent. Number 3, use the problem solution formula, and I'll show you on Wednesday night how Jenny Craig does that very, very successfully, and how lots of other people do it, but not the majority of businesses. 95% of businesses are not using the problem solution scenario. And number 4, fix your website. And I'll show you the ingredients that you need in your website to actually have one that converts instead of one that just gives information. And the 5th thing, Pat, is how to get repetitive trade. And it's one of your pet hates and mine. You can go to any restaurant in Australia tonight. You can spend $500 if you want, and they will not collect.
So, John, you've come up with a great incentive for those of you that come on the webinar on Thursday night. Every single one. Is that right, John? So if we get 1,000 people, what are we going to do? We're going to give away 1,000.
We will give away 1,000 4-night holidays to idyllic resorts in Australia.
Who does this? No one's. This is a world first, I'd say. Yep. A world first. So whoever you are out there listening, you're on my Facebook Live, you're on my YouTube. If you get on that webinar, now you've got to get on that webinar and stay on that webinar. I'm not giving away holidays for people just just jump on and click off, and you got to be on that webinar. Now, there is a link right here in the chat, and there's no obligation. This is a free vacation from myself, from myself and Reborn and John and the Mesiti group. This is a free gift of a vacation for a family of 4. And John, this vacation, the vouchers, they're eligible for how long? What, 2 years is it?
Yeah, mate, that's what they look like. So if you come on board on Thursday night. Now, why are we doing this? I mean, look, if I'm preaching value add marketing, incentive-based marketing, which is what I preach all the time, then of course it makes sense to sample. And I'm sampling. I'm hoping that if I actually get you on the webinar and Pat and I can demonstrate just how this works for you, I'm willing to give you one of these because there's a good chance that if I showcase my skills, then you might want to knock on my door in the future. Simple as that. It's called sampling.
Yeah, and John, I've stayed at some of these resorts that are on there. Stayed in the ones in Fiji. Stayed in the ones in one of the ones in Bali. Stayed in the Sydney ones. Stayed definitely in the Brisbane and even the Gold Coast ones. So we're gifting you guys. Last night I was slammed overnight. So every one of you guys that was on my Facebook saying, "Yeah, Pat, I'm in," this is how it is. There is a link right there. We'll put that link up there. You go directly there. You register for the webinar. Now, we know if you show up for the webinar or not. Our system tells us. We'll know. Once you attend that webinar, we're gifting you a holiday, a vacation for a family of 4. And
at a 4-star at a 4-star resort, by the way.
At a 4-star resort. And I can just say, well, why isn't it a 5-star resort? Well, we can't help people like you. Look, Thursday night, 7 p.m., you're going to learn about marketing. You're going to learn about your advertising. Look, whether you are a preacher, whether you're a hairdresser, whether you are starting, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a masseuse, whether you're dealing in spirituality, this is about you don't want to be the best kept secret in the country. And for giving us your time, there is no holes barred, no qualification. You've got to be on that webinar. For every one of you that's on it, we're going to give you a holiday voucher, which is eligible for the next 2 years. Where you can, there it is right there, where you can take your family on vacation. Sydney, well, obviously Melbourne at the moment, but Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Gold Coast, and when the borders open, Koh Samui, Fiji, all over these beautiful islands around us, and Asia. So, guys, these things cost us, but we're giving it to you. And as John said, we want you to sample. Try before you actually use this system yourselves. I've used it effectively. JD, thanks so much for being on board.
Mate, my pleasure indeed. And Pat, if I could just finish with this, is that
someone's asking, does it include New Zealanders? Yes. For those of you,
not yet. It will include New Zealand probably in the next month. The travel company that I'm dealing with said that they'll be including New Zealand within the next month.
But John, we've already got a client in New Zealand who's using these and sending people to holidays in Australia. After all, they might as well join all the other New Zealanders that live here. I mean,
Yeah, but Pat, if I can say this, the way I look about Thursday night's webinar, and I'm not trying to hype it up too much, but it's almost like Christmas Eve, because if you think about the Queensland border opening the next day on Friday, it's pretty much a good timing. We didn't plan it that way. It just happened that on Thursday night, it's the day before the border opens.
Totally. And there's no better time than now, guys. Day before the border opens up, and there'll be a stream of people coming through, but get in early. We're gifting you this wonderful gift. JD, any last thoughts before we clock off tonight?
I was going to ask you, Pat, and this one is for $64,000. If I can just ask you an Eddie McGuire sort of question. If you were a business owner and at the moment you were trying to devise some sort of giveaway to get people to buy your lounge suite or your swimming pool or your motor car or your accountancy services, so you're a business owner, you're trying to lure people with a free giveaway, given that everyone's been cooped up for 3 months inside their homes, they haven't been able to go anywhere, what do you think the most desirable free gift you could give anyone would be?
We're out of here. We're out of here. Look, you can drive up to the Sunshine Coast. I mean, there's so many. I can't wait to get in the sun and get a tan. Now, most of you think you already look like you got a tan. This is the whitest I get, and I'll be using my vouchers. You're
unlike me. I just burn and then the skin drops off. But in your instance, you're already 12 months a year diarrhea brown. You're already that color.
Well, brown lives matter. So
Oh,
anyway,
fantastic.
guys, it's going to be a fantastic. I'm looking forward for the content, but also it's a great gift for those of you. And those of you that last night you contact me, this is it. We'll get that link put up there again, Jonathan. That'd be great.
And there's no
Register for the
catches, Pat.
webinar.
Pat, there's no catches. So if anyone thinks, oh, you're going to get me on there and I'm going to flog this to me, this, that, and the other, of course, we will showcase to you how you could run this promotion for your business. And I'll show you some
100%.
case studies of remarkable results. But if you come onto the webinar and stick to them, you will get the holiday. Okay. We will email one of these to you, a PDF from one of those to you the next morning.
That's right. Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks, Jonathan. Well, thank you, Jonathan, back there in the studio. And thank you, John Dwyer, for being on there tonight. JD, you're always a great joy and always a good laugh with you, mate. God bless everyone. You have a prosperous life.